The air grows still, the shadows lengthen, and somewhere, a truth yearns to be uncovered. Welcome to RR Stories, the sanctuary of secrets, where every creak is a whisper and every silence holds a hidden narrative. Take a seat, warm yourself by the embers of forgotten lore. Now, let us unravel another story.
The humid summer nights in suburbia were usually uneventful, but for 16-year-old Marco and his younger sister, 13-year-old Leah, things had taken a dark turn ever since Mrs. Reyes, their next-door neighbor, returned from her vacation in the Philippines. At first it was subtle. Their dog, Buster, a boisterous golden retriever, was found disemboweled in the backyard, a sight that made their parents blame coyotes. Then other neighborhood pets vanished, and the local news started reporting missing children from towns over. Too far to connect, their parents insisted. But Marco and Leah, fueled by late-night video games and creeping unease, noticed stranger things. One evening, while their parents were out, they saw Mrs. Reyes's kitchen light flicker erratically, accompanied by faint, rhythmic thudding sounds. Later, a blood-curdling shriek pierced the night, followed by a heavy thump against their own house. They raced to the window, peering through the blinds. What they saw made their blood run cold. A massive, shadowy form, half human and half bat, with glowing red eyes, was soaring away from Mrs. Reyes's roof, disappearing into the darkness. They tried to tell their parents, but they were met with skepticism, a dismissive too-much screen-time lecture, and a grounding. Then came the news about Mrs. Del Rosario, a pregnant woman from down the street, found in her home, unconscious and pale, with strange, small puncture marks on her abdomen. The doctors were baffled. Their parents, still convinced it was all teenage imagination, left for an important convention out of town. To their surprise, they hired an old Filipino woman as their babysitter, Aling Nena, a distant relative of their father. Aling Nena was a woman with kind, knowing eyes and a cascade of silver hair. On her first night, Aling Nena prepared them champorado, and, as the rain began to patter softly outside, started telling them stories from her youth in the Philippines. Tales of spirits, enchanted forests, and creatures that defied explanation.
Aling Nena,
Leah began hesitantly.
have you ever heard of a monster that looks like half a person with wings like a bat?
Aling Nena's smile faltered, replaced by a grave expression.
Ah, the Manananggal.
She murmured, her voice a low rumble.
A very old, very wicked creature. It separates its upper body from its lower half, flies with mighty wings in search of unborn children or those with weak souls. It uses a long, thin tongue to suck the life out of its victims.
Marco and Leah exchanged a terrified glance. Aling Nena, Marco whispered. We think we saw one. Last week, over Mrs. Reyes's house. They poured out their story, the thudding, the shriek, the shadowy figure. Aling Nena listened intently, her eyes never leaving theirs. Suddenly, a guttural shriek tore through the night, closer than anything before. A violent crash shook the house, and dust rained from the ceiling. Something heavy was clawing at their roof.
It's here!
Leah screamed, burying her face in Marco's shoulder. The windows rattled, and they could hear the sickening tear of wood. Aling Nena's eyes, usually so gentle, now burned with a fierce, ancient fire. She stood, not with fear, but with a terrifying resolve.
Do not open that door, no matter what.
Marco and Leah watched in horror as she walked calmly to the front door, pulling it open just enough to slip outside.
Wicked ASWANG.
Aling Nena's voice, though old, boomed with an authority that echoed through the night.
You think you can terrorize these poor souls? Come down and face someone who knows your kind.
The Manananggal, a grotesque, winged torso with its internal organs dangling, circled above their house, its eyes blazing with fury. It swooped down, its talons extended, aiming for Aling Nena. But the old woman was faster. She began to chant, not in any language they recognized, but in a series of sharp, guttural words. The air around her shimmered. As the Manananggal lunged, Aling Nena pointed a gnarled finger, and a single powerful word exploded from her lips.
Zamangalok.
The creature shrieked, a sound of unimaginable agony. It recoiled in mid-air, clutching its chest. Blood, black and viscous, erupted from its mouth. It writhed, twisting in the air, its movements becoming erratic and weak.
You bring death, Manananggal,
Aling Nina declared, her voice cold and unwavering.
and death shall be your reward.
With one last chilling word, she sealed its fate.
Kamatayan!
The Manananggal let out a final, ear-splitting wail that pierced the night like a spear. Then, with a sickening thud, it plummeted to the ground in their front yard. As they watched in stunned silence, the monstrous form slowly began to transform, its flesh rippling, its wings shrinking, its dangling organs receding. In moments, lying on their lawn, was the pale, half-torsoed body of Mrs. Reyes, her features twisted in a final, grotesque rictus of pain. The high-pitched shrieks of the ASWANG had woken the neighborhood. Lights flickered on. Doors creaked open, and soon a crowd of bewildered neighbors stared at the horrific scene, the mutilated body of Mrs. Reyes, and the calm, unwavering Aling Nina standing over it. Police sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. When they arrived, they saw the evidence of the struggle, the torn roof, the broken windows, and the gruesome body. But they also saw Aling Nina, a serene old woman, standing near the deceased. Despite Marco and Leah's tearful, frantic explanations about the monster, the police heard only a wild tale. Aling Nina was taken into custody, later blamed for the recent killings and abductions. Nobody believed the children's story of a flying half-woman, a monstrous creature from a distant land. They tried, they truly did, but the adults only saw what they could comprehend, a dead woman and a strange old babysitter. Marco and Leah knew the truth. They had seen the monster, and they had seen Aling Nina, a descendant of ancient Babaylan, save them. But in a world that refused to believe in the shadows, their truth remained a terrifying, unbelievable secret, a silent testament to the night the Manananggal came to their suburban home.
Like and subscribe to my channel for more chilling tales.